Whether you're picking and grinning or just picking or just grinning, grab a drink, pull up a seat. It's time for Roots Music Rambler. Turn it up.
All right, listen here. I need to know everything about the Tyler Childers pop-up that happened at Dino World.
Yeah, Dinosaur World in Cave City, Kentucky. So, and for those who don't know, Dinosaur World is this kind of roadside attraction, sort of kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's near Mammoth Cave, and literally Cave City is the name of the town, Kentucky. And it's between Louisville and Bowling Green on Interstate 65, yes. And so anyway, I get this email from the Hickman Holler, fan club of Tyler Childers. And I was at the Government Mule show at Iroquois Amphitheater on the previous Friday night, which was a great show, by the way. Government Mule. I finally got to see Government Mule. They were fantastic, but that's not what we're talking about. Anyway, so I look down at my phone. I'm sitting in the audience waiting on the show to start. I look down at my phone. I get this text message from Hickman Holler. It says, "Hey, Tyler Childers is doing a secret pop-up show for Hickman Holler fans only. There's only 500 tickets. If you would like to put your name in the hat to have a kind of a lottery, even draw chance at getting tickets, click through and agree to pay if you win." And they were $70. And I'm like, well, you're not going to see Tyler Childers for $70 anywhere. So why not? And I don't win. I never win anything. So I just said, yeah, I'll do it. I didn't even know if I could go, from my schedule, but I thought if I get these tickets, I'll cancel everything and go.
Heck yeah.
So on Monday afternoon, that was on Friday, on Monday afternoon at 5:15 or whatnot, I got a message saying, congratulations, you have the 2 tickets. Here's where you go. Here's what you do. And it was a Dinosaur World. He had done a pop-up a day or two before in Nashville at a little restaurant, which I don't think they told very many people about it. People just kind of showed up, and there were a bunch of people there because word got around quick in Nashville that Tyler Childers was doing a free pop-up show. This one wasn't free. It was $70 per ticket, but there were only 500 seats. And literally, if you're driving down 65 and you see the Tyrannosaurus Rex on the side of the road, the stage was right behind the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Like, there were people that pulled off on the interstate and sat in lawn chairs on the side of the interstate, which I'm sure is illegal. And watch the show from the side of the road. But Karen and I went down and we got in, and it was super freaking hot. They didn't do a great job at first of distributing water. They gave us free tickets for snow cones, but the line was wound in through the crowd and you really couldn't get there. But eventually, like 15, 20 minutes later, they were walking through the crowd with cases of water, handing out water. So they did fine. I don't have really any complaints about it. But I just kind of stood there pinching myself because Tyler Childers and the Food Stamps were playing, 50 feet in front of my face in the middle of the summer, the 4 or 5 days after their new album came out. And they played all but I think 2 cuts from the new album, plus they threw in a couple others. And it was fabulous. It was absolutely fabulous. I mean, I will never get tired of seeing that guy play. I took a couple of quick videos and threw them up on the TikToks and the Instagrams. And my Biting List video now has like 350,000 views on TikTok. So I started getting a lot of new, fans and comments and likes and all that stuff there, which was kind of fun to see because I've never done anything that was viral. I just sit and talk to myself and film it, and nobody's interested in that shit. So Tyler Childers helped light up my TikTok account, which was really freaking cool.
Hell yeah.
And, like I said, Dinosaur World is this roadside, big plaster, scale models of dinosaurs, not scale, like actual size models of dinosaurs tucked back in the woods. It's, if you got little kids, it's probably worth it. If you're older, you probably need to be really high to enjoy it. But yeah, it was cool. It's a neat little place, and seeing Tyler play there was just kind of nuts. And, the exclusivity of it felt really cool. And,
oh, I bet
a bunch of my friends were really pissed and jealous. My buddy Joe's like, dude, buy me a shirt. And of course I bought him a shirt, so he's got a shirt. But yeah, that was it. It was really cool. And, I feel really lucky to have been there. And, and it was great. That was the 3rd time I've seen Tyler. So it was great. I loved it. So good.
And I can confirm just about everything you said about Dino World and Cave City because I was just there.
That's right.
Yeah. So, the family and I vacationed in Clarkson, Kentucky, which is near-ish to Cave City. It was great. We were on Nolan Lake.
Yep. Hold on, pause. Just for the Kentucky folks, what she's talking about is Nolan Lake. Nobody knows Clarkson. Everybody knows Nolan Lake. Just so
okay.
Locals are all like, right. I'm going to Nolan Lake. Okay, if you said I'm going to Clarkson, that in Tennessee, where the hell's that? So, Nolan Lake.
Okay, whatever.
You're Nolan Lake.
Nolan Lake.
Or Lake
all
Nolan.
right.
Yeah.
No, it's Nolan. It's actually Nolan River Lake.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so yeah, really nice. The house we stayed in was awesome. And then, of course, we took a trip to Mammoth Cave National Park. And after we were at the park, we drove to Cave City to, feed the heathen children and the adults as well. And we're driving and I'm like, Dinosaur World. I'm like, that's gotta be the Dinosaur World,
yep.
Right? It's gotta be, because how many, and like, I knew you went to that pop-up, but I didn't realize that it was in Cave City.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no shit. And it was me, my mom, and the kids, and then my sister and her husband and their kids. And I didn't even think, and they like Tyler too. So I didn't even think to say anything until like much later. And by then my sister had found a video, a TikTok about Dinosaur World. And she sent it to me and she's like, we were just there. I'm like, I know. Oh my God, I totally forgot to tell you, but yeah, and we did not go to Dinosaur World, and I'm not upset. And I don't think anybody in our party was upset by that, but, cause it looked like, as you said, a total roadside attraction.
Yeah.
And we probably wouldn't have stopped there anyway, but, just freaking cool though. I mean, like, you were just there, Tyler, and then I drove past it. It was just like all the stars aligning, everything coming together.
Well, the only thing the only complaint I have to lodge about all this was you told me ahead of time. So I'm going to throw you and her under the bus. You told me ahead of time that your sister was the planner, the trip planner, who made all the arrangements and stuff like that. And I'm under the impression that she was told and advised to schedule some time with Jason Falls in or around Louisville during this trip, and it did not happen. So your sister's on my biting list right now.
Oh, you know what? If she listened to the podcast, she'd probably get a kick out of that. But my family doesn't listen, so
mine doesn't either. So
whatever.
It's all right. Yeah, we have one of those side passions that no one we know cares about. So that's just
pretty much.
But that's okay. You're our audience, and we love you, and we are glad you're
here.
That's all
that matters.
And all that good stuff. Welcome to Roots Music Rambler. She's Frank.
And he's Falls.
And we're rambling on through the stories behind the music we love.
And today on the show, we've been hearing a lot about Huntington, West Virginia's Corduroy Brown. So he's a rock musician, but with subtle hints of his Appalachian roots. He heads up a power trio band with influences that range from Michael Jackson to Primus and everything in between.
That's right. I think pop rock is probably an apt description, but he can wail on the guitar and the band can really rock out. So they lean more rock than pop. But it's the energy and message that has set Corduroy apart from a lot of other artists, and that comes from being near dead during COVID.
And what a story. I mean, just unbelievable almost, He was revived from life support during the pandemic, and coming out of that, I imagine it really changes a person, and it did for Corduroy. And, it really changed his perspective. He's embraced themes of gratitude and positivity and describes his sound as feel good, which we agree is an apt description.
Yeah, I think a fan or someone along the way told him his music makes you feel like everything's going to be okay. And we can all use that these days for sure.
No doubt. So we'll also make some recommendations for new listening in our Pick and the Grinnin' segment. So be sure to stick around after the interview for that.
I'm already out of a beverage, so let's take a quick break so we can thank the fine sponsors that make this show happen. When we come back, we'll get some feel-good rock talk from West Virginia's Corduroy Brown. Stay tuned. This is Roots Music Rambler. Welcome back to Roots Music Rambler. We are here this week with none other than Corduroy Brown. He is from Huntington, West Virginia. He has among his accolades the 2024 Song of the Year with Born and Bred, the 2023 Album of the Year from the Appalachian Music Awards, a lot of other honors along the way. And Corduroy, I think last week or the week before, you just opened for Everclear. The last couple of years has been big, man. How you holding out?
Well, it blows me away that people care at all half the time. So, no, I mean, I feel super blessed to be making music. And I guess more importantly, like the accolades are nice and the big stages are cool. But one of the coolest things I think an artist can get is compliments about how their music helps someone. And we get those messages a lot. And we talk to people at shows that say, man, your song got me out of a dark time. And that's honestly the biggest compliment and really what kind of keeps me doing all this, because it'll wear you out sometimes.
I'm sure.
I believe it. And we do have a lot to get to, but what we want to talk about first is the beginning. So we know you're from Huntington, West Virginia, but tell us about growing up and when and where you found music along the way.
Sure. Yeah. So being in Huntington, I mean, being in Appalachian in general, music is everywhere. But I grew up in a little town right across the river from Huntington called Chesapeake, Ohio. We have one stoplight. And so this isn't the start of a sad country song or anything, but no, I mean, it's a pretty small town. I think we had less than 100 people in our graduating class. So you knew everybody. And but I remember just mom made us go to church every Sunday morning. You was getting up, you was going to church. There ain't no question about it. And I just remember always being so intrigued by the piano player and the organ and the choir. And no one in my family was musical. Like, I mean, I had an uncle that played like saxophone and my grandma played piano, but I never really saw it. But, you know, in high school, my mom got me a guitar from a place called Mac and Dave's. And it's a little pawn shop, and she ended up paying way too much money because they kind of ripped her off. They're out of business now, but you know, I'm not going to say karma is a thing, but that.
Well, you know, it is what it is.
Regardless, mom got me a Fender guitar for Christmas when I was 17, and once it's in you, I think it's just in you. And I feel so blessed to be talking to you guys, but just to be performing it all. I mean, it's truly is a blessing.
Sure. I remember Mac and Dave's. They used to have some pretty crappy TV commercials back in the day too, as I recall.
I believe it.
Now, I grew up in Pikeville, Kentucky, so the Huntington TV stations were our TV stations.
Oh,
okay.
I
think I was maybe 13 or 14 when somebody opened up a TV station in Hazard, Kentucky, and that became the first like Eastern Kentucky focus. But like I grew up watching WSAZ and WOWK and all those guys too. But speaking of Huntington, by the way. It's become a bit of an underground music hotbed lately. Certainly, Tyler Childers did a lot of teeth cutting there. See what I did there with the new album.
I did.
We've also had Kindred Valley on the show. I know you've done a really good collaboration with them. I know a lot of other artists, though, have kind of come through Huntington, spent some time there, or made it through that way. Why do you think that is? Why is Huntington, West Virginia such a music hotbed right now?
You know, I don't know the exact answer, but it's interesting because I'm kind of like a middle child. I wasn't performing a lot when like Tyler and all them were kind of really hitting their peak and really starting to blow up. And now that I'm kind of in the middle ground of like grinding out and starting to get some cool opportunities, I see new bands kind of cropping up. So I don't know what it is about this area, but it's cool just to see like, both ends of the spectrum where there's huge bands, obviously Tyler Childers and Ona and all those guys that are doing big things. And then new bands too, and people in the middle. It's just something about it here is super special, man. And I think people are making really authentic and honest music, and that's what's always going to resonate more than anything.
Nice. And I feel like we're going to ping pong some topics here because, you know, Jason here is all about Eastern Kentucky and West Virginia because he was born in West Virginia. But we want to go back to the core music piece. So when did you start writing music as opposed to learning other songs and playing them? And was there a moment or a song or something that inspired you to say, I'm going to write some songs now?
Sure. So yeah, I actually cut my teeth on kind of harder rock and metal, believe it or not. There was a band called Flyleaf back in the early 2000s, and she, she could scream. She has a screamo voice. And if I'm being honest, now that I just remembered that, Huntington used to have a crazy, like, hardcore metal scene. Like, I remember driving in my little blue Ford Ranger to, like, the YWCA, where there was 300 people packed in to see these, like, local bands, and we're just beating the crap out of each other in the mosh pits. That's really it's really what got me into it. So I used to be playing and chug music, like super thick, heavy stuff, and that's what I cut my teeth on, believe it or not, more than anything. I think I've mellowed out a little bit since then, but my hairline went away, just like my internal anger a little bit. So but no, I guess, I don't know. I started writing music probably in high school and didn't really perform, but I got a chance to perform with a band called the Dividends back in the day. And it was kind of like an Amy Winehouse. Like, we had a trumpet player, a female front, and that was my first taste at really traveling outside of, like, playing at different churches and stuff. But performing with the Dividends really kind of gave me a platform to say, here's what I'm going to say. And I've always just wanted to make authentic stuff and, write from real experiences. I'm not a pop songwriter, so I can't write a story that's made up and make it sell 1 billion records. I just write honestly. So that's all I've really done. It's just, you kind of just do that at a bigger scale, right? Is just continue to do what you know best and get better at it.
Nice. I'm not going to ping pong too much here. I read today that you have described your music before as feel good Appalachian rock. And I love that. And it certainly describes a sound that appeals to me. But can you describe for people, what about your music is inherently Appalachian? What about the mountains comes out in your songs? Because I think when people outside of Appalachia hear something described as Appalachian from a music standpoint, they think, oh, it's songs with banjos and fiddles. Mm-hmm. So what about your music really gives it that label?
That's a great question, because Appalachia is huge, right? There's 13 states, or 14, 13 or 14. And you do think mandos and banjos and stuff, because, there is a little banjo in some of our songs even, but, I got asked this recently and I had a hard time answering it, because I don't know other than just being from here. I guess that inherently makes it Appalachian, but, there's a certain humbleness to it maybe. And I feel like that kind of embraces what Appalachia is. And I just pour out gratitude in my songs for just even being alive for the day. And I feel like people in Appalachia truly, there's not a lot of ego. They're just humble and help each other. And that's kind of what my songs are hopefully for and doing, is just helping people.
That's why they ran me out. I had too big of an ego.
Yeah, get out of here.
I love that. I love your answer to that, it's just oozing with gratitude. And it kind of leads into our next question, which we don't want to ignore any longer, about something in your bio points out that you were on life support during COVID. You came out of that with a new perspective that seems to have fueled your music and helped you rise through the ranks ever since. So can you share that story with us and take us through what happened, where you came out on the other side of it all?
Sure. COVID was a wild time for everybody, right? It was just I don't ever want to go through another world event again like that. But for me, I got COVID, and when I initially had it, it wasn't that bad. It was like a cold, but a few weeks went by, noticed my lymph nodes were really swollen and my body was hurting. I was throwing up a lot. I went to the doctor and they sent me home. They were like, well, you're just being anxious and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, I'm literally like a golden retriever. I don't get anxious. I'm like, I'm not going to be at the hospital if I don't want to be. So I go back after another really rough night of being in pain and getting sick, and to kind of speed the whole story up, I ended up being put on a ventilator. And then they said, I guess I passed away in the helicopter ride to Morgantown, where they put me on a type of life support called ECMO. Wow. And ECMO is a very last ditch effort to keep your body alive. It's generally what you're doing to say goodbye to people.
Oh, geez.
So to survive ECMO, generally older patients don't, because it's so violent to your body. But I did pass and came back, and I saw this infinite, vast whiteness in that time that I passed, and some contrasty things. I don't know how much time we have, but there's like a large contrast of just against the hard white, and I wasn't floating on the ground. And I don't know, it's so hard to explain it because I've talked about it so much, but I know for sure 1000% I wasn't on the earth, because it was the most beautiful and peaceful and amazing place I've ever been to, even though there was nothing.
Wow.
And to come back to earth, there was like this jarring, like plane crash feeling of like oh gosh, you're like, whoa, all these feelings came back and all this pain came back. And, I've all that when you're faced with mortality, you can't help but reevaluate every breath you have. And especially being 30 years old at the time, it just has to come out in every experience. And why would I not take my opportunity now to remind people, like, unless reincarnation is real, we get one single chance at this. And most of the time we're sitting here running towards the wrong things. Time is the only thing you can't get more of. Mm-hmm. And we got to use our time the right way. Quit being upset at things. Quit chasing things that are eventually just going to be in a landfill. Like, try to just, I don't know. All I wanted was more time with the people that I cared about. And that's kind of like my call to people is, hey, this is it. Let's do it. If we're going to do it, let's do it right.
Nice. Well, we're certainly grateful for whomever or whatever saved you, and equally as thankful that you've taken that second chance and made it so positive and energetic. We all certainly need more positivity these days. We want to dig into more of your songs and albums and music. We'll do that when we come back. It's Corduroy Brown, and this is Roots Music Rambler. Back on Roots Music Rambler with Corduroy Brown, purveyor of real feel-good Appalachian rock. Corduroy, you're from Huntington, West Virginia, home of Marshall University, but I've seen you doing a little blue and gold on some of your videos. Before you answer this question, it's good for you to know I'm originally from Logan, West Virginia, home of the Wildcats, and I'm a 1996 master's degree graduate of West Virginia University. So where do your loyalties lie, Mr. Brown?
It's a tricky situation, buddy, because I actually went to school, and I've caught a lot of flack. There's people from Huntington that are not thrilled with me saying, hey, I'm Corduroy Brown from Huntington, West Virginia, while wearing all WVU gear. And it's so funny. But, as we talked about, I owe my life to Reuben Memorial Hospital and WVU. I have nothing against Marshall. But as much as I live in Huntington, I see it all the time, go herd, whatever. But Huntington doctors didn't quite save my life. They almost did the opposite. So shout out to WVU, and I went to school at Ohio University, so go Bobcats as well. Okay, I'm gonna throw it. I'm gonna throw it all out there.
All right. Well, go Mountaineers. I've got cousins that I don't talk to because of this topic, so it's important to hash that out. So talking about West Virginia and Appalachia in general, one topic I revisit often with people in conversation is what Patterson Hood from the Drive-By Truckers calls the duality of the South. He's referring to more of the conflict one has when thinking of the racial issue in the South, certainly, but also being proud of where you're from and the good parts of the area. When I think of my West Virginia roots and our part of Appalachia stretching, up into Ohio as well, certainly racism plays into that. But in recent years, I think the dehumanization of the coal industry, which has increased poverty and certainly produced secondary results like methamphetamine addiction and the like. I hate that about my home state, but I love West Virginia in so many ways. Is that similar for you? Is there conflict there in being where you're from and loving it, but also hating it sometimes?
Yeah, I feel like, I can only really speak for like this little tiny bubble of West Virginia, Ohio, and Kentucky that I'm involved in truly. But, it is interesting because even as of earlier this year and over the past several years, we were recording a video for one of our songs called 4th Avenue 2-3 weeks ago. Can you cuss on this show?
Absolutely.
So, I won't say the complete racial expletive, but someone, while we were just recording a music video, said, get off the street, you effing blank, insert hard R word there. And it's wild to me that why?
Yeah.
But it's funny because I wrote the song called 4th Avenue about all the things that I see in Huntington every day. And people in the comments are like, oh, that's where I grew up and I did this and blah, 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 blah. And that's where my favorite store and blah, blah. But then there's other people say, oh, well, Huntington's a waste. There's people that are on drugs and blah, blah, blah. And all of that's true. Yeah. But my challenge to them is say, well, if that's the problem, well, why not go volunteer at the shelter? Or why not go donate your clothes to Harmony House to someone who's in need? Like, be a solution to the problem. Yeah. Then it's no longer a problem.
It's a great perspective to have.
Absolutely. And still, you are overly positive as a person talking to us here and in your songwriting and your lyrics. But do those sorts of conflicts manifest themselves at all in your music?
If it is, it's like it's a little kind of like a sleight of hand. I mean, there's definitely times where I mean, there's a song that we haven't released yet called "Biting My Tongue," and it's about someone incredibly toxic in Huntington. And and maybe that's who may have even said racist things to me at one point, and absolutely has. And but I don't sit there and just directly say this is a song about blah 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 blah. There's a creative way to do it. So I think I definitely have experienced some of the negatives that we're talking about being from here, but it's home at the same time, right? I forget who said it, but it's just like be the change you want to be, and all I can be is me.
Yeah,
and that's just all I can be.
That's great stuff. Well, let's dig a little bit more into your songs. Your song "Doing My Best" has just kind of captivated me over the last few weeks. I've been listening to it kind of over and over again. It's just a great song. It's one hell of an uplifting anthem that has become quite the popular cut in your arsenal. Tell us about that song and the ideas that went into it.
Yeah, man. So no one knows what they're doing, and that's okay. That's the whole thing.
Facts.
Amen.
Like no one has it figured out. And I know that, like, I mean, you're seeing the super positive side of me, and this is just me pretty much by default. I'm not putting a happy act on. I mean, I take medicine every day to feel better so that I'm not down in the dumps all the time. But that song just was that whole calling card of like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing. But then I realized, like, I'm so mean to myself, as if this wasn't my first time ever being on the earth.
Yeah.
And it's everyone's literally first time. So it's like, we can all pretend and act like we got it together, but if you don't, who cares?
It's a great point. I got a couple cousins who swear it's their third or fourth time, but they ain't getting any better at it if it is. I'll tell you that.
This technically is my second time if you count the gone and back.
There you go. That's a good point. That's
Truly. And again, speaking of that, your first album, Let Me Know, was the result of that survival experience after COVID. So tell us about recording that album, maybe what you learned that you're kind of circling around now, because we sense there's perhaps a new album in the works, which you're welcome to break news about while you're here, while you answer. Just
for sure.
Just
yeah. I can definitely do that. I can hook you up with some exclusive stuff.
Sweet.
So yeah, the first album, Let Me Know, came out in 2021, and I actually just got a notification today, the day that we're recording this. It's 4 years old today.
Wow.
And I was like, I have a 4-year-old. That's really wild. But no, Arlo McKinley was on that album. A band called Massing from Huntington's on that album. My mom is on that album.
Cool.
Gosh, so many people. A pastor from this one church that I look up to a lot is on the album. And it was kind of an ode to all the people that literally said the phrase "let me know" and they meant it. And I've seen that in my entire life. Like, people have just had my back, and I just, like, why? I don't know why, but it was just kind of an ode to all the people that have literally said that phrase "let me know" and they meant it. And there's a song on there called "Better on the Ground," and it's about that whole experience. I mean, all the time that I wasted complaining, when now I'm can show gratitude that, you know, I have lungs that will sing and a heart that will beat. And yeah, I don't know, that album is almost like the prelude to just a new turn of the page, man. I mean, it's like you go through an experience like that, you can't help but express all those things.
I believe
That's fantastic. So you've hit some momentum in the last year or so with great music, opening for some big acts and headlining a few events yourself. Tell us more about the opportunities coming. You know, we're fishing for that breaking news about a new album and all that good stuff. Who you planning to work with? What's the next 6 to 9 to 12 months look like for Corduroy Brown?
I mean, well, we've been working on the new album for a couple months now, and I think we have 7 to 9 songs that I'm pretty happy with. My favorite one's called "Biting My Tongue."
Yep.
And we've been playing it out a lot, and I love that song. I'm really proud of that one. That'll be on the next album. I would love to work with John R. Miller and do a song. I've been on stage with him a few times, and he writes grown man songs, so I'm kind of just like putting out in the air that maybe we can finish up a song or something.
There you go.
But no, we've been working on it quite a bit, man, and I'm just continuing. It's definitely like got a rock feel, but it's also got, synths and some extra flavor and kind of weird stuff in it, then I don't want it to just be like a rock album. I need more than that. And I can tell you the album though. It'll be called Sorry for Oversharing is going to be the name of the album. And I have the artwork done for it. We're probably gonna do vinyl. I'm waiting to finish these next few songs, so I want like 3 or 4 more songs, then I'll be happy.
That's awesome. We love vinyl around here. So
some more than others.
I don't know if you can see it, but like over my shoulder, I got this massive collection of stuff.
I see Mr. John Prime back there as well.
He's hanging out. He's overlooking us. That's good stuff.
I'd have to pick up my computer and show you around the house to show you all of the vinyl that is housed here. It's insane.
She's got a nice collection.
Yeah, insane. But we are so excited for you and very thankful that you shared such big news with us. And of course, thankful that you've spent some time with us. And I know that Jason reached out just last week and you were quick to say, hell yeah, which made us feel really good. Yeah. We can't wait to see what's next for you. So please tell our listeners where they can find your tour dates, your music, your merch, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you look up Corduroy Brown, W.Va, if you need to know how to spell corduroy, I do this at every show because corduroy is apparently a magical word that is impossible to spell correctly. So it's super simple with 3 syllables. It's cord, the letter U, and Roy. Ooh. I even did it in the American Sign Language at the end there. So it's just look up Corduroy Brown, W.Va. will even get you right on me because there's one in Canada, but that's not me. Mm-hmm. He's like a short white guy with really long hair. I'm a tall black bearded guy with no hair. Okay. No, we have another big show coming up. I mean, today's August 13th, so maybe you're seeing this later, but we just got off the run with, Everclear. And then we have a show with Hoobastank coming up, in Morgantown. So that's going to be super fun. My 90s millennial self is dying on the inside right now. So, we have a lot of stuff kind of right there on the okay, if we can get this locked in, it's going to be a crazy 2025 and 2026.
Heck yeah, love it. I remember a radio announcer in my hometown. I was listening in the car one day and he had this really professional voice. He said, coming up next, we've got a tune from a Hoobastank. I just thought, okay, dude, you need to relax a little bit.
Relax a little bit.
He was from Delaware. He also said watermelon instead of watermelon.
Ooh,
so he was interesting. We liked him. He was a good dude. Well, we'll make sure all the links to all those places are in the show notes at rootsmusicrambler.com. Corduroy, my man, always proud to see a fellow mountaineer doing good in the world, even if you're technically from Ohio. But, keep kicking ass, my friend.
No, I appreciate you
Thank
guys.
you for coming. We've got the Picking the Grinning segment is coming up. Stay tuned. You're listening to Roots Music Rambler. Welcome back to Roots Music Rambler. How about that Corduroy Brown? That, the story of him, what he said was in that space between consciousness when he was, literally dead on the gurney, kind of gives me a little hope that we don't have to be worried so much about whatever's next.
For real.
I mean, I'm not a spiritual person necessarily. I guess I'm not a religious person. I'm spiritual, but not religious. And so when you get into conversations about heaven and hell and all that kind of stuff, I don't really know the answers, so I don't worry too much about it. But I definitely am a little bit more optimistic about things now, hearing someone who's had a direct experience with it, because that was powerful.
Completely. And the whole time he was talking about it, I had the chills, and I still do. It just amazing story, and so glad that he did come out of it, but yeah, and what he said about it just being peaceful, feeling at peace is definitely comforting.
It's much better than the only times in my life that I've had the bright white light. It's usually with a cop saying, follow my finger. And so it's a different experience. Anyway, it's time for our Picking the Grinning segment. This is the part of the program where Frank and I recommend music, songs, artists, albums, something that's making us grin. It's our picks for you. And I'm going to go first this time just because I want to. So I have been digging on Stephanie Ann Johnson. Now, if you know that name or it sounds familiar to you, she was a finalist on The Voice way back in 2013. But she's kind of a rock, blues, soul singer. She's from Tacoma, Washington, and she's got a new album out. And her publicity team, her PR people, reached out to me via the emails and pitched her to be on the show. And so I've started digging into her music, and she is incredibly talented. She's got a great voice. The new album sounds really, really good. And so she may very well be on an episode in the near future. But Stephanie Ann Johnson is my pick for you. 2013 Voice finalist, rock, blues, and soul. She reminds me of a little bit of Joy Coon, a little bit of even like a Mavis Staples. She's also got a little Janis Joplin, maybe a little in there.
Okay.
So she's got a really interesting sound and a good band and good recording. So Stephanie Ann Johnson is my pick in the Grinning this week.
All right.
What you got,
All
Frank?
right. Well, what I got is a band that I've, seen the name and heard so many times over the years. And I actually listened to a little bit, but really got the full experience last month when the band Deer Tick opened for Drive-By Truckers on their Charm and Decadence tour. So I think I may have talked about this on a previous episode, but Drive-By Truckers played 3 shows at Fitzgerald's last month, July. And of course, Tom and I went to all 3. And 2 of the 3, we were accompanied by my son, Anthony, who had just turned 12. And it was his first rock show. Well, no, I take that back. It was his first Drive-By Trucker show. He had seen Vandaliers before. But, it's still kind of a big deal. So there were 3 bands on the ticket. It was Thelma and the Sleaze, Deer Tick, and then Drive-By Truckers. So Deer Tick, they come out and freaking hysterical, right? Johnny, the lead guy, he's like, "Well, Deer Tick from Providence, Rhode Island," and I was just like, okay, all right. So somehow throughout the set, somebody said something about it being Anthony's first rock show. So they're in the middle of a song and Johnny jumps off the stage into the crowd with his guitar and hands the pick to Anthony, to my son. And Anthony's looking like, what do I do? I'm like, play, so Johnny's holding his guitar and Anthony's just kind of strumming. Yeah. And it went on for a good 5 minutes. I think you could tell his arm was getting a little sore because the strumming slowed down a bit, but, it was the coolest thing. There were so many people like huddled around and everyone's taking video. And then that was the first night. And the second night that we went, Lucia was supposed to go with us, but she's a teenager. So she's like, eh. And then Anthony's like, I want to go again. So we took him back again. And, he was a celebrity. So many people who were at the show the night before recognized him. He got to meet, he met fucking Mike Cooley, the kid was just all over the place. But then what was it? It was more than a week. No, it was like a week later. We're at Shuba's to see Vandaliers, and this dude walks up to Tom. He's like, "Hey, you were with the kid who was playing the Deer Tick, playing with Deer Tick." And Tom's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh my God, I was there." And the dude's wearing a Deer Tick t-shirt.
Nice.
At the Vandalier show. So yeah, but Deer Tick, okay, aside from all that cool stuff that they really embraced my son, the music was great. Like, they were so much fun, and 3 nights in a row, and I wasn't tired of it. So
that's great.
If you know Deer Tick, you're cool. If you don't, check them out.
Okay, Deer Tick. I like it. I've said Deer Tick in a conversation today, and it didn't have anything to do with the band.
You did. You did.
Anyway, I was using one of my stupid, Eastern Kentucky analogies. But you're a deer tick compared to a pile of monsters or something like that. But it is what it is. Well, that's great. I'm glad Anthony got to have a lot of fun and a very memorable experience at his first Drive-By Trucker show, and he'll probably be a fan of them and Deer Tick forever now.
Yep.
So good work, Mom. That's the way to do it. All right. Well, I think it's going to wrap it up. This has been a pretty fun episode and enlightening.
Yeah.
Special thanks, of course, to Corduroy Brown for swinging by and sitting in with us. Excited to have him on the show. And by the way, we don't normally do this on the show, and I just kind of feel like we ought to do it more often. I don't like to, go through and say, here's who's coming up next week, because we don't always know, because we schedule the interviews in advance, and sometimes they get, kind of rearranged and things like this. But here's a short list of people coming up that we're going to have on the show scheduled to appear. And so they may not, but we think they're going to. So here's a nice little list. We've got Sean Camp, who has a new album out, or coming out rather. And he was a co-writer, and all the songs on this album are co-written by Guy Clark. So he's one of Guy Clark's younger, prodigy co-writer people. He's had some country hits over the years, but Sean Camp is scheduled to be on the show. We've got Chase and Wayne. We've got The Last Rebel, the Creekers. I love the Creekers.
You're stoked for that.
I'm excited about the Creekers. And just today I confirmed that we've got a scheduled interview with Ramona and the Holy Smokes. So I'm looking forward to all of these and many, many more. We're trying to get a bunch of others on the show too. But
and Los Gallos.
Oh, that's right. Los Gallos. That's right. Los Gallos. We've got an interview coming up with them as well. So just a nice variety of good music here coming up on Roots Music Rambler. We hope you'll hit that big subscribe or follow button so that you don't miss anything in the future, because we're having fun.
Absolutely.
Kicking ass and taking names.
For sure. And I just tell you that this episode, I mean, I freaking love it. I love that interview with Corduroy Brown. Really, really happy with this one. Yeah,
this was a good one. We had a lot of fun. Thank you all for joining us. Roots Music Rambler is a production of Falls and Partners. It's copyright 2025. Our theme music is Sheepskin and Beeswax by Gentacorum. Join us online at rootsmusicrambler.com and make sure you mash that subscribe or follow button so you remember to join us for the next Hoedown and Throwdown. She's Frank.
And he's Falls.
And whatever you do, kids, ramble on.